Good morning, everybody. Good to be with you on this beautiful Friday morning. Looks like we're going to have a great weekend. I know it's been a little difficult to experience all the rain we have so far this spring, but boy, it sure has made things look clean and green, and it's just, we live in one beautiful community at this moment. So I'd suggest we all make sure we're ready to help where Mother Nature will leave off and make sure things stay kind of green around us and take care of our yards. And I just want to say thanks. As a matter of fact, that's the way I wanted to start this morning. As the mayor, you get to deal with a lot of challenges and people's concerns and problems and troubles. And I just want to say thank you to those who have been in over the last several months. We've had several who came in with very legitimate concerns. And I just want people to know how much I appreciate how good it is to work with the people of this community. When they bring a problem in, they listen closely. They listen to our challenges compared to their challenges. They want to be part of a solution to problems rather than just create a problem. And many of them have some really good suggestions of things we can do to maybe do things a little better or to be able to help them out. And I'm just grateful for them. We're not always willing to give them exactly what they want, but each one of them have come in with appropriate concerns, and we've been able to work things out, and it's just been a joy to work with people. When you have a problem, particularly when it's right in front of you, sometimes it can affect your whole world, and if we're not careful, we think that it affects the entire world, and it doesn't necessarily. So I'm just grateful. We've had some really great cooperation and people with good attitudes. As they've come in, we've been able to work through them and make them just smooth them out as much as possible. But I've appreciated the attitude people have had. We had an interesting experience this week as we got a letter that there was a possibility that there'd be a call for water curtailment. And I wanted people to know that that letter was to inform us that we belong to a groundwater district. And in that, we are covered. We will not be affected by a water call if it does come. And so I just want people to know that we've taken some precautionary steps to make sure and cover the city for those kinds of things. And we appreciate belonging to these organizations that do a great work. Water is an interesting resource, and it's a limited resource, and so it's important we're all working together to make sure that things happen right. And the water that comes into city for city use is a very vital water, and we're grateful for those who have partnered with us to help us protect our water rights. I also want to make you aware, I think many of you know Mr. Mark Lupo. Those of you that don't, Mark has worked for Idaho Power for the last 35 and a half years. He is retiring, and they've made an announcement generally to the public that he's going to have a retirement kind of a party, a go-away. Come and say thank you to Mark. If you know him, if you don't, might be a good time to come and meet him. He's been a great player for the city of Chubbuck in helping us to be ready for the growth that's going to be coming and making sure that we're ready to provide the power, particularly the electricity needs of this community. And he's just been a great person to work with. That retirement party is going to happen this Thursday, June 6th. That's a week from yesterday. It will be at the Old Town Pavilion in downtown Pocatello, and it'll happen from 3 till 6. So if you have some time during that time, come by and tell Mark thank you for the work that he's done for Idaho Power. This coming week, we're going to have several meetings on this coming Wednesday, June 5th. First, we're going to have the Joint Cities meeting. That includes both cities, the county, the school district, and Idaho State University. That will take place at Idaho State University on June 5th at 2 o'clock. And then also on June 5th at 4 o'clock, we have a council study session, and at 6 o'clock, we have a council meeting. So that's going to be a busy afternoon, but if you want to come and participate in any of those meetings, they're open to the public, and you can come and see the things that are happening to make this community work. I also want to make sure people are aware that the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, has for some time talked about moving their headquarters to the west. Well, at this point in time, they've got a plan in play to try to make that happen. Their goal is to announce where that will happen by the end of this fiscal year, which would be in September. And so we want you to know that we've been working real hard as a community to show them that this Chubbuck, Pocatello area would be a great place for them to headquarters for the Bureau of Land Management. We've had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. a couple times and talk to both the Bureau and our congressional delegation. We feel like we have a really good proposition to give to them to see if that can happen. So we want to make sure that the community is aware that that's happening, and any of you who want to maybe write a letter to the Bureau or to particularly our elected representatives to encourage them to do all they can to see that that happens here in our community, that would be wonderful. That would bring a couple hundred jobs, federal jobs, to our community. So that's a process that's ongoing, and during the next 4 months we're going to be doing everything we can to wind that up. We have shown them, we were able to put together a map of the lands that the Bureau manages in the West, and we are right square in the middle of those lands, and we've been able to show them a map that shows that. So I think we've got a really strong offer to them, and over the next 4 months that decision will hopefully be made. Also, I want to make you aware, many of you are, but I want to make you aware that I have been appointed to work on, I've been appointed by the governor to work on a broadband task force. That's going to be an interesting process throughout this summer. We know that there are challenges here in our community, but there are even bigger challenges in many of our rural areas to make sure we're getting broadband service into them. And we've put together a team that's a fantastic team that's going to work hard at making sure that we bring that into the state of Idaho, that we get coverage for everybody and get the best coverage we possibly can. So I'm looking forward to working on that task force for the next 3 to 4 months. I'll try to keep you informed as to what's happening with that, particularly what would maybe affect our area. Very last, I just want to talk to you a little bit about the fire district contracts that have been in the news for some time. I want to make sure you know where I, as your mayor, have come down on this. And this might take a little while, but to me, this is important for everybody to understand the process. Last summer, I got a call from our fire chief, Merlin Miller, and he had expressed to me, you maybe can remember, it was in the paper, that they were up fighting a fire up Pocatello Creek. And he told me that he was within just minutes of calling for an airdrop. And had he done that, the minute he called for that airdrop, it would have cost our city $30,000. So we immediately started talking about whether we had enough money in that contract. Well, the discussion turned from money real quick to personnel. And this was the scenario that was put in front of me as your mayor. And that's, let's suppose that we were fighting a fire either out in the up Pocatello Creek or out in the, now the area's left my mind, but it's out in the Power County area, and there was a fire in our town. And our personnel were fighting these fires that far away. We could very easily lose a structure because it would take quite a bit of time to be able to get here to fight that fire. So it came down to personnel, and we started studying that. And folks, you know that we've been a growing community, and we really just have enough personnel right now to take care of our own community. If we had additional resources, we'd be willing to help out wherever we could. But at that point, it became pretty apparent to me that we just had enough personnel to cover our city. As your mayor, that's my responsibility. And face it, folks, that's what you pay for fire services for too, is to make sure they're there in case you have either a fire or medical event. So we had pretty much determined that there was really no chance for us to provide those contracts. Well, during that time, we got some communication from the North Bannock County fire commissioners that they did not intend to renew the contract next year, but they wanted to renegotiate the contract. Well, we were right in the middle of this discussion, so immediately I wrote a letter back to them to tell them that we were not going to be able be in a position to offer any kind of contract. And we sent the same letter to Power County, who we had a contract with also. I want everybody to know that this has no political stance at all. It literally has come down to more than the money issue, and there are some issues to do with money, but more than that is a personnel issue. We need to make sure that the Chubbuck Fire Department is able to cover the incorporated city area, and that's what it's come down to. Now, that all being said, my last understanding, and this is through an email that was handed to me, I understand that at this point North Bannock County is looking at putting together their own fire station and equipping it and having volunteers. I think that's probably the direction they're headed. I don't know that for sure, but the reason I kind of think that might be the case, as it's been close to a month since I've had any contact with them at all. And if that's the direction they're going, then they wouldn't be contacting me, and I wish them the very best. So folks, I want you to know that this has been done in good faith, and as your mayor, I feel like we've made the right decision for our community. We're still open to any kind of negotiations that they would like to have. We recognize that them putting together that ability to fight fires in their community might take a little more time and effort, and if they come to us and ask for some additional helps while they get that put in play, we'll see what we can do at that point in time. But at this point, we believe that we've done the right thing for the city of Chubbuck. Appreciate each one of you. Again, looks like we're going to have a beautiful week. They're talking about the possibility of 80s next week, so it's going to get warm again, and just grateful to be with you, grateful to be part of this community. Thank you very much.